What's up, guys? Welcome to Whiskey. My name is Jeff. Now, this is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and if you stick around to the end, I'll be giving it a score as well. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe down below. And with that out of the way, why don't we jump into our review? Today, we're looking at the Balvenie 12, the Sweet Toast of American Oak. Stick around. So we're looking at Balvenie today. I believe this is the first Balvenie that we've looked at on this channel. This one's a 12-year-old called the Sweet Toast of American Oak. It's a relatively new expression, came out a couple years back in 2019, and I would say that generally speaking, it's been pretty well received. Now, I think Balvenie is an interesting distillery, but if I'm being honest, I don't buy too much of their stuff. I think they make good whiskey. I think they have an excellent distillate, and they seem to use pretty good casks as well. But as is all too often the case in the whiskey industry, a lot of the stuff they make comes off pretty light. Still, it is a brand that I come back to from time to time, not often. It's definitely a mixed bag. I think a lot of the stuff they put out is pretty basic, but they do have some releases out there that are just downright amazing. So yeah, I mean, it's a spectrum. The problem is that, personally speaking, I don't find that there's much in between the two extremes. I seem to either like their stuff a lot or not much at all. I probably would be more inclined to explore the brand more if they gave us better specs, but as it stands, it does feel like there's a lot of wasted potential there. That being said, I do like some of their single cask releases. Those can be pretty good. Anyway, our Sweet Toast of American Oak here has been matured in reused bourbon barrels, then it's been given a finish in double charred or double toasted virgin American oak casks that were brought in from Kentucky. Now, I don't know how long this finish was for, so if any of you out there know any details about that, do let me know down in the comments. But double toasted sounds interesting, and our bottle here tells us that the finish gave it a fruitier character. Now, I do want to like Balvenie more than I actually do, so I picked this up on a whim. Expectations weren't high, but I figured I'd give it a go. Maybe I was hoping that I'd be converted. And I guess we'll see how that plays out shortly. Anyway, this is part of a new line from Balvenie. It's called their Stories collection. It's 3 different whiskeys that come in at 3 different price points. This is their entry level. We also have a 14-year-old called The Week of Pete, and we have a 26-year-old called A Day of Dark Barley. Our 12-year-old here has gotten mixed reviews, although I would say that it's generally favorable reviews. It's made some top 10 lists on YouTube. It's been well received by a few blogs out there, but it's also been criticized by some for being a little bit bland. So honestly, at this point, it could go either way. So with all that said, why don't we hop into a review of this guy, see what it's all about, and in the meantime, if you can kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. So, Balvenie doesn't usually do too well here. Our ABV on this one comes in at 43%. Now, I'm not sure if it's chill filtered. I would assume that it is, and it's also a colored whiskey. Now, this is a Balvenie product, so disappointing, yes. Surprising, no. So you can check out our unnatural color to the whiskey. For bottle presentation, I think this looks nice. I like the color to the label. I like the simple barrel graphic that we've got on the front. And I'd say on the whole, I like the look of these Stories releases. They're very subtle, but they're a little bit modern, a little bit stylish. Now, it's not a standout bottle, but I think it's got a good look. So presentation score here is going to be 4 out of 5. Information is not great. Obviously, they're not going to brag about weak specs. We do get a very brief description of the maturation process, as well as some tasting notes, which is nice. They talk a little bit about their apprentice malt master. Okay. Overall, I don't really have any strong opinions about this bottle, but I do think it's nice. Let's try our nose. Lots of honey. Very barley forward, very malty. Cereals. Grains, a little bit of maple in there, pineapple, lots of vanilla. I'm getting some lemon hard candy, some sweet ginger, and some char. This is a gentle nose, but we've got some subtle complexity here. Now the palate. Light mouthfeel. Ginger beer, lots of ginger beer. Honey. Lemon hard candy, orange hard candy, unsweetened vanilla, rum, cinnamon buns, butter. Now the finish. More ginger beer, canned pineapples, more rum, honey mustard, all sorts licorice, tiramisu, coconut. This is a very light, soft finish, short to medium in length. Interesting one. I'm not sure what to think of this stuff. It's incredibly easy to drink, and I do think it's a solid step up from the Doublewood. Not only that, our 43% ABV does add a little bit more weight to it, although not much. The main reason this is more interesting is the flavors. We get some pretty cool flavors in here. Loads of ginger beer. We get some rums, some honeys, like brown barley sugar, brown sugar. There's also some fruitiness to this. There's some maltiness, and we have a pretty silky texture. We've got that silkiness, we've got that ginger beer. For me personally, those two elements are the real showstoppers in this whiskey. I think they lend it some character where there otherwise might not be very much. And yeah, the overall experience here is very soft, it's very rounded. This is a very presentable whiskey. In fact, it's a bit too soft, it's a bit too rounded. There's precisely zero edge to this whiskey. I think it would be great as a casual summer sipper. It's a good introductory dram for beginners. It's a very pleasant whiskey, and that's most certainly what it was intended to be. So it's all going to come down to the way you approach it. Personally, I tend to look for a hook, an edge, a bit of a challenging element to my whiskey, and to be fair, that pretty much eliminates me from this whiskey's target market. From top to bottom, this stuff was designed to be soft and approachable. You know, I sometimes think in some ways Balvenie is a little bit similar to Macallan. Both of them make fantastic whiskeys. They put a lot of money into both production and marketing, and they both position themselves pretty successfully, I'd say, as upmarket brands. Unfortunately, they both also usually give us weak ABVs in whiskeys that are chill filtered and colored, and neither brand seems too preoccupied with making any changes, despite how much we complain, and I guess fair play to them. Us whiskey nerds, we're most certainly the loudest corner of their market, but I doubt we're the biggest corner of their market. At least we've got a 43% ABV with this one, so I suppose we should be grateful for that. Now, I've said this before, I'm occasionally okay with lighter ABVs. I don't really do 40, but 43% can be okay as long as your whiskey's got a bit of weight to it. But I wouldn't really say that applies here because this is a light profile on top of a light ABV. So yeah, it's just too light. And again, I do realize that I'm not the target market for this stuff, but still, I'm going to score a whiskey based on my personal taste and the way that I approach whiskey. So my score for this one is going to be 84. I think it's light, it's harmless, it's really pleasant stuff, and we do get some unique flavors in here. But for me, it's just not inspiring. It needs a bigger ABV, and without that bigger ABV, it at least needs a bigger hook. I will say this, when I drink this alone, independent of any other whiskeys, it does taste pretty good, it goes down pretty well, and you do feel like there's a bit of substance to it. But anytime you throw this into a session or do a side-by-side with any other kind of whiskey, it comes off anemic. Still, I can see a lot of people out there enjoying this stuff. You know, you get those unique flavors, it's malty, it's sweet, it's soft, it's rounded, but as someone who's not approaching this as a fan of Balvenie, this one has failed to convert me. But if you're coming at this as someone who's already a fan of Balvenie, you're probably going to like this. We do get the house style shining through. That double toasted barrel finish doesn't overwhelm our distillate, so obviously as long as you're approaching this as a light casual sipper, I mean, they don't get much more harmless than this. Personally, I don't think I'll have any trouble getting through this bottle. I'll sip it, I'll enjoy it. When it's done, I probably won't buy it again, but I don't have any harsh feelings towards it. Just because this is a style of whiskey that I don't really respond to, doesn't mean that it's not a good whiskey. As I said, I think there's going to be a lot of you out there who do enjoy this one. Not only that, I think if you're trying to stick to a more affordable Balvenie, this one's probably your best bet. I think our value here is so-so. I'm not going to tell you that it's bad value. This whiskey comes in at the high end of entry level, which, you know, I guess they can kind of pull off. But personally, I think that for what you're getting, I mean, I'd knock a few dollars and pounds off the price. Problem is that this one's meant to be a step up from our 12-year-old Doublewood, and that one itself is already overpriced. So it's not a problem that's unique to this expression. I think Balvenie on the whole charges us a little bit too much. So yeah, this whiskey is no masterpiece, but it is decent. That being said, I think there are much more substantial whiskeys out there that you can get for the money. Alright, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, hit subscribe down below, click that little bell icon, and finally smash the like. Now, I do want to hear from you guys. Have you tried our Sweet Taste of American Oak? What were your thoughts on it? Finally, down in the comments, let me know what you want to see me review next, and I'll keep it in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.